Hello, everybody. Welcome to my sacred space. Welcome to my home. Welcome to your daily pick tarot meditation. This is Olivia. Well, I'm Olivia, and this is Tarot and Coffee with Olivia. This is your daily reading. So, I already have the cards laid out, and I even have our archetypes card laid out as well. So, we are going to go ahead and start with that. I guess I need to say a couple of things first. I'll go ahead and turn this over and let you look at it. The threshold. It reminds me of that book, The Diggingest Dog, a little bit. Okay. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it's really worth the read. No matter who you are or what age, I'm serious. It doesn't take very long. Next time you find yourself in the bookstore, go find The Diggingest Dog. I think it's Theo Lessig, um, is who wrote it. It's a children's book. Okay, so the Wild Archetype. Oh, I guess what I want to tell you is you're going to pick your card using the card toppers. We have our Honey Citrine here. I also want to let you know that it really helps me out. That's your Selenite. When you subscribe to the channel, here's your Howlite. I noticed my mom got a YouTube account. Yay, Mom! And that's your River Rock, or your Black Palm Stone, or your. It's our Black Lives Matter rock. Okay, because that's an important issue that I feel like I really need to mention as often as possible. It's very, very, very important to me. And what you may not know is that my family is brown and black. That's what we are. Let's move on to the threshold. So if you're wondering, like a lot of people think I'm white, well, I'm not. I'm not. I may have some white privilege because I look white, but I am not white. The threshold, the door, the gate, the initiation. We cross thresholds continually, consciously, and unconsciously. Doorways, gates, and entryways grace our path on a daily basis. When this card arises, it signifies that the precipice you stand on is not your typical one. However, you've arrived at a threshold of initiation, where to usher you into a new reality, it requires you to leave behind the you that you thought was so well formed. A new frontier calls, and this is not easy work. Threshold initiation means a part of you will be lost in order to make space for what is next. A metaphorical death must occur. Some may not recognize you. You may struggle to recognize yourself. The ground seems to crumble as you free fall into your new reality, and this, the liminal realm. One step, dear friend. Just take that one necessary step toward the future that calls you. Doing this was one of those steps for me. I feel like I was on the threshold and I said, what am I going to do? And I came up with this. It was at the beginning of the great sickness, the COVID. Um, and I don't recognize myself from what I was before, because I moved from being an atheist into being a believer, and then suddenly I'm doing this and talking about God and angels. Um, that's the way the ball rolls sometimes. Anyway, it was my worst fear once to get old and become a super Christian. That's what I used to say. Um, I don't feel like I've become what I was afraid of becoming, because one of the things I was afraid of was becoming old, and I don't think I'm ever going to grow old. Also, I don't feel like, oh, was my foot sticking up back there? Y'all can see. Hi. Oh, that's so gross. Sorry. Am I gonna leave it? Maybe. Um, like my niece Brooke said, I should charge y'all for this content. Only she's got cute feet. Um, my niece Brooke NASA, shout out. She is Miss NASA on Instagram. Go check her out. She does oracle woman oracle. I don't remember. She does oracle readings, and she's really, really fantastic. Um, and she's funny, and she's fresh. And anyway, okay, threshold. We read about the threshold. Let's go ahead and start by turning over what is under the honey citrine, and let's talk about it. The lone man. Well, here he is. He's meditating. That's what he's doing. He's looking at things from a different perspective. He actually physically got up in the tree and turned upside down so that he could see things differently, and look at his money falling out of his pocket. I'm not real sure what that signifies. I really shouldn't have said anything without looking it up. But we do have all kinds of things going on here. For one thing, we have a connection to the other side. We have water, which is psychic. We have longevity over here with the deer antlers, and also plenitude. We have the spider web, which speaks of fate. And then we have the one crow up in the tree. And that crow is a bringer of news. We have a mountain in the background, a purple, majestic mountain, I might add, and a tree. So what do we have going on here? Oh, and we have the lotus flowers. So there are a lot of beautiful, beautiful kind of being and awakening symbols here. And mostly what he is doing is being. He's being in his place right now. He's sitting pretty. So, if you are not one to meditate often, although you're meditating right now, because this is a meditation, you can count it towards your meditation if you sit quietly and listen. And I certainly do. I count it towards mine. It is, well, I do a lot of preparation for these two a lot of times. Sometimes I don't do as much, sometimes I do more. So I'm not going to ask you to meditate today, but what I am going to ask you to do is be aware of where you are today. Be aware of who you are today. Be aware of how you act today. Be aware of how you interact with people today. I want you to think before and after every action today. If you don't want to meditate, if you'd rather just switch that out with meditation, that's fine. But if you don't want to meditate, that's what I want you to do all day today. I want you to be very aware of every moment and the things and actions that you take and things that you think in those moments. While balance on the threshold, how this interacts with balancing on the threshold really has a lot to do with just really understanding who and where you are, because sometimes that is the impetus to stand on the threshold and jump off and become a new self. Sometimes. Now we're going to pick up the Selenite. Talk about her. And we have the Ten of Rods. We have someone who is very busy, working very hard. And this card happened to be upside down when I drew it. So I'm going to tell you what that means. It means you're overextended. You've been doing too much. You've been trying to do too much. You're probably a teacher. You got too many projects going at once and you're dropping things. But maybe you can't help that. He's feeling, look at his face. Let's look at his face. Hopeless, overwhelmed, not knowing if he can even move forward. So, so if you have this card today, what I would like to say is that yes, we understand that you're doing a lot of hard work. I'd like to give you a pat on the back for the work that you've been doing. And I am kind of get the impression that it is without gratitude. I mean that you are working without getting recognition. As you stand on the threshold, this might be a wake up call. What are you going to do? What are you going to do differently? Can you do something differently and stay where you are? Maybe not. Maybe so. I want you to know that you have choices in your life. And you may not feel like you have choices because you know that your calling is what you're doing. But if you get too overwhelmed, you might find yourself on the wrong kind of threshold, getting ready to jump into the wrong kind of place. So I want you to try to find some balance and collect yourself before you get to a place that's too dark. So I guess I want you to just really consider where you are today and consider, do you really need to be doing all these projects? I know with the schools reopening or not reopening or going online or whatever's going to happen, there's a lot of uncertainty. So a lot of people don't know what they're going to be doing next. So this is a difficult card. And it's difficult for me to assign something to you as well because this is your place that you're in and it's very tangled and there's there's a lot going on. So I'm just going to leave you with that food for thought that I gave. And we're going to move to the Howlite. The Howlite of many faces, I like to call him. And then we're going to pick up your card. And you have the World. This is a card of plenitude. This is a card of the world provides. This is also a card of the world and not the spirit realm. Although we're not going to discount any spiritual stuff that may come with this because I do believe that the world, the earth, does have a spirit. And I always like to point out the stars coming out of her boobs because to me that's hope. We can also call it the milk of human kindness that does exist. You've got plenty of water. You've got food. You are protected. And you have powerful tools around you. When I see this card, I think of that scripture I'm sorry, I don't remember where it is. I know sometimes I do, but this time, be in the world, but not of the world. And that's what she's doing. She's being herself. She's interacting with the world around her, but she's not letting the world around her change her. Especially not her kind nature, where she wants to just breastfeed the world. So if you have this card today, I would, I guess, and speaking with the threshold, how does this card interact with the threshold? I don't know. Maybe you know better than I do. But I think when you realize that that there are parts of the world that are outside, you don't have to let everything in. Because that can be really overwhelming and also it can start affecting you in really bad ways. I think about getting back to basics with this card. Like that Eight of Rods. And how the threshold. Standing on the threshold of a new you. Destroying what you were to become what you will be. In the world, but not of the world. I don't know. Let's just leave it like that. I bet you have some things that came through your mind that will help you with that today. What I would say is if the news of the world is hurting you, try to take a break from it today. And last but not least, the river stone, or the black palm stone. I've just picked your card up. And Five of Pentacles. Despair, loss, codependency, hurting relationship. Guess what it also means? It also means that this sadness will end. You're almost there. You've almost had too much. You're standing on the threshold, maybe even of your relationship right now. Maybe y'all are going to do something different. Maybe you're going to split. That's different, but that's not, you don't have to do that in order for things to change. Maybe you guys are going to go see a marriage therapist, a counselor. Maybe even speak to someone at your church who does family counseling. I know I mention that a lot because I really do believe in getting outside help. We are a social people, and that is what we do. So I don't see anything too terribly grievous in here. The most worrisome cards I see are these two right here. But I would say you guys really have the power. You guys really have what it takes to get out of where you are right now and find yourself somewhere else, maybe on a threshold, ready to be born again. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming. I do have another video that's coming out this morning or this afternoon. Your timeless love meditation. I've been having some technical difficulties. I should have had it out early this morning. That didn't work out, so I apologize. I hope you do enjoy it when it does come out, and I will see you then. Thank you. Bye.